Welcome to Finding the Good in Goodbye. My name is Dr. Renee, and I'm the owner and founder of Transcendent Heart Life Coaching. I know this is a difficult topic, but one that's really important to discuss. And today I hope to share with you some really poignant aspects about the importance in being able to say goodbye to the things that no longer serve you. But it is a difficult process, and I certainly won't leave you alone to do that by yourself. So I hope after the conclusion of this presentation today, you'll feel stronger in your own ability and in your own self to know when enough is enough and when it's time to let go. So stay tuned here for the next few minutes of this really important presentation of finding the good in goodbye. Whether you find yourself staying in a relationship too long, whether you find yourself in a job that feels like a dead end, whether you feel that things are hopeless in your personal relationships with siblings or friends, and things just seem to be more of a struggle than positive, nothing around us is going to change until we have the courage to go deep inside of ourselves, explore our demons that lie within us, and eventually let them go. Let them be free. As the image on the screen demonstrates, sometimes we have to release that which is heavy to be able to capture that which is lighter and freer and more joyful. And so today, again, you're going to find some strategies here to really help you understand why you stayed too long, and most importantly, how to begin to release and let go. Know that there is no specific time for transition. Everyone is different. Your experience is different. Your feelings are different. The way that you express emotions may be different from someone else. So if someone tries to tell you how and when you should move forward, begin to release that as well. Your heart is the most prominent organ when you are experiencing grief, stress, and the inability to move on. And you are going to have to find in your own self a way to let this heal. But know again that your time is your own. And it's most significant that you realize that you'll know when it's time to move forward. And don't listen to anybody else who tries to move you through that too quickly. So today's agenda, we're going to talk about 4 very specific points. We're going to talk about the 5 reasons we stay too long. I'm going to highlight one of the more significant theories that exist out there by William Bridges, the transitions theory, and talk how we move through these various stages of transitions and what's normal and what might not be deemed as acceptable. We'll talk about strategies for moving on, and I'll talk very specifically about the power of transformational coaching. So why do we stay too long? Honestly, there's a lot of different reasons, but there are a top 5 reasons for why we do stay. Number 1, we forget that we have a choice. Sometimes we stay so long that we find ourselves in a situation that when we decide that we probably needed to move along, we kind of say, well, we've been here for so long already, and it doesn't feel like we actually have the right to do so. We don't feel like we actually have a choice, but we do. You always have a choice in everything that you experience in your life. Who you tend to spend time with, who you choose to want to be around, who you don't want to have in your life, what type of job you want to be employed in. All those kinds of things are choices, but we tend to forget that we have choice. Number 2, we stay for their sake. We tend to forget about us. We tend to not love ourselves first and foremost because we feel that that is selfish. As the great Iyanla Vanzant says, we have to live these wonderfully rich, self-full lives, not selfish lives, self-full lives. We can't have our cup runneth over and have nothing left for ourselves. So when we stay for their sake, we are forgetting and not loving our true selves. We're not being emotionally authentic for us. And if we don't love ourselves first and foremost, we have nothing to give to other people. So you must live a self-full life where you fill your cup first. And then what you have in your cup can be spilled over for others and still have some left for you. But for some reason, we forget about ourselves. 3, we have invested so much time, so much effort, so much emotion that we almost feel as though we are losing something, like we are losing the game. And those of us who may be very competitive may be really uncomfortable with walking away when we say that we have given so much to a person or to a job or to a specific thing in our lives. And so we tend to keep going back and going back and going back. It's almost like torture. Versus had we just walked away and taken the loss, we probably would feel a lot freer. But unfortunately, again, we see it as an investment, and we're not willing to walk away until we've tried all things, and sometimes tried them again and again and again and again. So if you're finding yourself in this anarchy, you need to let it go. Number 4, we don't know or we are unsure of our value. Really, truly ask yourself, is this really what you are worth? You are worth so much more. You are everything. You are enough. But at times when we attract the wrong job, the wrong person, because of how we felt about ourselves or what we were going through or experiencing in our own lives, we are very likely and susceptible to attract that which is like us. And so again, if we didn't know our value when we said yes to that job or yes to that person or stayed in that relationship, then we certainly have underestimated our worth and our value. And when you begin to realize that you are worth more than what you're experiencing, you're going to feel uncomfortable. You'll feel that. Your soul is going to cry out, screaming for you to change. It's going to say enough is enough. And that leads me to number 5. We stay too long because we fear fear. We fear pain. We fear discomfort. We tend to do this thing that we call splitting, where we tend to find the good in everything, even though it's horrible and rotten. Oh, but he was good sometimes, and that job's not so bad. I only hate it 4 out of 5 days out of the week. Wednesdays are pretty good. You get my point. And we tend to fear the negative and the pain, and we tend to split. The diagram that you see on this next slide is a well-known transition model by William Bridges. And in the model, you'll see that there are 3 distinct areas. There's the endings, the neutral zone, and the new beginning. And all of these spaces are sort of governed by the 4 key factors that lie on the outside of that square. The impact that it has on you emotionally, physically, all those other things, spiritually. The readiness that you are able to demonstrate to move forward. The time that has gone by. And the alignment, right? The alignment of these different aspects in our lives. And so the neutral zone is that space where we just kind of hang out. And as William Bridges said, we always have all these endings and losings and letting go. And then we look forward to new beginnings, such as new relationships or new jobs or new experiences. But we tend to forget that we have to stay in this neutral zone for a little bit. And there's really nothing defined or specified in this area other than some reconsideration, some reflection, some deep inner thinking, problem solving, goal setting, developing, those kinds of things that can start to happen, but from an emotional perspective. And as an expert in emotion regulation and coping and management, I'll tell you that this space will be defined by, again, the impact, the issue, the time, and the readiness. And once all those pieces come together, you'll have a greater sense of when it's time to move on. But again, remember that that time varies for everyone. And William Bridges reminds us that the neutral zone is a space to be in, to feel safe, to feel as though you're processing, so that when you move into your next experience, it'll be far more positive. As we just highlighted in the previous slide, William Bridges provides us with many suggestions and ways of moving through our stressor. And again, it varies greatly from person to person. But there are some methods that have proven very successful for people depending on the type of relationship or issue that they're trying to let go and say goodbye to. If you find yourself in a relationship that is toxic and very negative, and it's depleting all of your energy and it's making you feel very ill, it's time, if you can, to go into what we call no contact. This is the best method that really does show your ability to release that etheric bond, that eternal bond that you had emotionally with this person because of the relationship, because of the nature of the connection. And the more intimate that connection, the more powerful that etheric bond actually is. And if you try to look them up on social media, or maybe just text them once in a while, or recreate contact between you and this person, the chances of you being able to truly say goodbye and move on is really almost impossible. And depending, again, if this relationship was very negative and very toxic and there's no children between the two of you that requires you to stay together, then no contact is the way to go. I know it can feel as though you're being cold or heartless, but in many ways this allows you the freedom and the space to truly heal your own self, to really allow yourself to move through the stages that you need to move on without exterior or external forces playing a role on you. So no contact is critical. Number 2, self-forgiveness. We're going to talk more about forgiveness on the next slide. But to forgive yourself for getting yourself in the situation that you've been in. Be kind to yourself. We tend to be the cruelest to ourselves. We would never talk to other people the way that we talk to ourselves. And if you find yourself having been in a relationship or stayed in a job too long or underestimated your value and truly didn't live to your potential, forgive yourself, brush yourself off, and make a plan and strategies to get yourself to the next steps that are necessary to move forward. Number 3, take responsibility. Stop playing the victim. Of course, you most likely were the victim, but there comes a point where in order to say goodbye and to truly move on, you have to rest the victim status. You have to let it go. You have to let it almost die and allow yourself then to be the survivor, to be the one who moved forward. And only you can do this, and you have to take responsibility for the role you played in getting yourself in that situation in the first place. Again, just as I said in number 2, be forgiving. You don't have to beat yourself up to a point that you start to cause yourself to get stuck again. But stop playing the victim. Take responsibility for what you've done. Accept that. Forgive yourself. And then most importantly, number 4, look within yourself and begin to feel. We do not like feeling discomfort. We do not like feeling pain. We do not like feeling grief and sadness, but you must. As an expert in the field of emotion regulation, coping, and development, I will tell you that this is the one true element. If I'm asked as a transformational coach, what will determine who will be successful moving forward versus those who won't? Those who will sit in the negativity and the negative emotions and feel it, experience it, be one with it, are the ones who are going to be the survivors. The ones who can't take it when they feel it and have to run and take something to soothe themselves, have to drink something to soothe themselves, have to find someone else to fill that space. You know where I'm going with this. They're not feeling, they're deflecting the feeling because it's too hard. You have to feel. So if you're struggling with being able to feel, number 5 should help. Reach out to those who never left your side. This might be a smaller group of people because as we get older, we know that those roots in our foundation tend to be few and far between, but they are so important. Reach out to those people who've never left your side and get the support that you need. If you need to reach out to an organization, to a therapist, to a counselor, to a life coach such as myself, do so. Do not feel any sense of embarrassment. There is nothing. You did not fail. And in fact, you have done the best thing you possibly could for yourself, which is seek out assistance and say, I'm stuck. I don't know how to move forward. Reach out to those who can help you. As I mentioned previously, forgiveness is critical in moving on through any transition. It's very difficult because oftentimes we think that forgiving means forgetting, and that is absolutely not true. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means releasing and letting go. It means allowing and loving yourself enough space to let go that which is no longer serving you, to provide room for that which is deemed to come in next. And if you continue to keep that which no longer serves you in that space, you won't have room or space to allow in the good stuff, the goodness, the things that are meant to be there. You must forgive. Forgive yourself, forgive others, but you don't have to forget. If you're trying to move past the death of a loved one, know again that there is always new life. There is always more in life. And that whatever your belief in your higher power and your energy, you know that energy continues to go on and exist, even if it's no longer present in its current form. And so maybe take some time in your day to find the things that will always allow you to have that connection. And bring life to those aspects. And most significantly, there's an activity that we call 7 minutes a day. Whether you want to do this first thing in the morning or last thing at night, take 7 minutes out of your day and just do a mantra of I forgive you, 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 I forgive you. If you need to say I forgive me instead of I forgive you, that's fine. You can call out names if they come to you, but be prepared for the well of emotions you're going to feel. This is so cathartic. It's such an amazing activity that allows you to release that which you're holding. Emotions are like an iceberg. You only see a certain part once they come to the surface. The rest stays beneath. And so sometimes you're not even aware of what you're carrying around. But the 7 minutes a day activity is very powerful. Please try it for yourself. Thank you for spending the time with me today, talking about finding the good in goodbye. Again, I know it's a difficult topic and concept to sort of work ourselves through, but it's important nonetheless to let go of that which no longer serves you, to gain momentum in an aspect that has had you stuck for far too long. And if you find that you do need that support, you do need that help, I am here for you. Again, I'm Dr. Renee, owner and founder of Transcendent Heart Life Coaching. And as a transformational coach, I can help you find the strategies, engage in the behaviors, and begin to see the changes in your own life. There are many core principles to my program, but they are specifically catered for each individual based on what change, what transformation, and what aspect they need to work on in their own lives. So reach out to me at transcendentheart.com. There is a contact page that you can fill in your personal information and tell me your story, and I'll definitely get back in touch with you. My phone number is also listed there if you wish to send me a text message or give me a call directly. Thank you again for spending time with me, and I wish you the very best in your transition.